Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 235 of the Super Weapon Podcast, most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy Darius the Artist, and as always, I got my co-host DC here with me today.
What's up, everybody? I don't know what part of the planet that you are on, but here in Georgia, it just keeps raining and raining and raining. So
Yes.
I think I may be going through a little bit of, I don't want to say depression. That's a strong word, and I don't take that word lightly. It's just been up and down for me a little bit.
Yeah.
I got positive energy today, but I guess you can call it like seasonal depression. I don't know. Like I just been kind of tired a little bit,
Yeah.
but I saved up all my energy for today because today is pod day and I love being here with you guys because the pod is the shit. Oops, I wasn't supposed to cuss the first 30 seconds.
Oh, no, now
I'll
we can't
bleep that
upload
out.
to YouTube.
No,
Nah,
YouTube is going to kill us. Yeah. But I've been a little up and down, but I'm in
Yeah.
good spirits today. I hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully, it's not raining too bad where you're checking in from. But yeah, man, it's just been a little crazy here. Last couple of weeks, it's just been raining like nonstop, just raining.
The weather has been pretty, and it's not just normal rain. It's been like some pretty serious like storms. And
yeah,
it always seems like that this time of year, and I kind of feel you on that, man. There has been a lot of change going on in my life with the family and everything, and as we kind of get to this midpoint of the year, I always start to kind of look back and be kind of retrospective on things, and it's I am happy for how far we've come. I will say that, and we don't get to really just talk a lot about like our mental health and stuff, and it's
Men's Mental Health Month, baby.
I was just about to say, yeah, man, it's important, especially for men, to have somebody or people or a group of people that you can talk to, and I encourage people to do that, man. I'm lucky enough to have my wife and my friends that I can, relay and talk to and stuff when there's some tough things going on in life. But and I know you had a pretty long week, man. So I am happy that we're here. That it's Saturday, and we're gonna have some fun today, man. We're gonna have a good time, and just
it's always a good time.
Just try to have fun, yeah, man. Like, but we're here post showcase season, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's post Super Bowl of for gaming. I didn't really know any other way to put that, but after all the showcases and stuff, and we've had time to kind of like digest the information, and I feel like we were going to come back to talk about this particular topic either way, especially lately because there's been so much discourse on the new Xbox handheld, and I felt like it was worth talking about because people really do miss the forest for the trees, in a lot of things, and
church.
it's not all good for me when it comes to this handheld, but I really do like the direction that Microsoft is moving in, and we'll just kind of get into it, man. But I saw a lot of people talking about the ROG Ally and how it's just like a glorified PC, and it's just interesting to me that people think that this was their answer to like a Switch, but it's not. They're looking at this as a competitor to the Steam Deck, and I think that's important context because one of the biggest things that I've seen people talking about online is the fact that you can't play like your entire library of Xbox games on this thing natively, which I think is a problem. I will admit that I think that is a small problem, but I think it's one that Xbox is going to fix eventually, because as we've seen before, Xbox has been really big on backwards compatibility and the whole Play Anywhere initiative, and how they're trying to give you your entire library to play essentially anywhere, right? And I don't know if you've seen like any of the discourse or how you kind of feel about this device after you've had some time to look more into it, because I know you were really excited about it during the showcase.
I've avoided all Discord. I've avoided all the chitter chatter because it's not gonna stop me from getting it. My mind's already set.
Yeah,
it's besides the small little minor things like you said. Yeah, okay. we're not going to get every single game. But I think Microsoft is always, I don't want to be one of them people that like make excuses
Yeah.
or be one of these like, oh, well, you guys are not looking at the bigger picture, blah, blah, blah. But on the same, on the same token, right? I do think one of the things that I like about Microsoft slash Xbox is
Yeah.
they are forward thinking. I think that a lot of the things that they do, it's like almost like, okay, how will this benefit us
Yeah.
within a 5 to 10 year time span instead of just thinking in the moment? Like a lot of people
Right.
in the gaming community, once you get rid of the noise, as I like to call it, of the what is it, console war and all these types of people who are just siding with
Yeah.
consoles with no information. They're just they play what they play and they're gonna defend what they like to play, whatever. Once you eliminate that noise and start looking at these things from a business perspective, I think this is a good start for what Xbox eventually is
Yeah.
trying to do here. And I'm here for it. Like I am going to buy one. I understand the shortcomings. I understand the what it takes to actually get it to where they need it to be. And I'm still impressed with it. Like I like the fact that you will have like the your Game Pass
Yeah.
in a mobile form. Like, you know, I could take this device, say if I go stay over my brother's for an event or something, I could take this with me. All I have to do is just connect to his Wi-Fi, and I'll have access to my Game Pass library. Like I do
Yeah.
like that aspect of it. I like the X Cloud. These were all the things that when they first started working on, remember, everybody thought it was, you know, they didn't think the best of it.
Yeah.
You know, they was like, "What are they doing with this? Why should I pay for Game Pass? They don't have any games on here." Because remember, at a time, Game Pass games were, you know, the library wasn't that good. Like,
It
you
really wasn't
know,
because
and
I
people were
yeah,
questioning it,
that's true.
like, "Why am I paying for this?" Like, even though it was relatively very cheap at the time, people was like, "Oh, I'm not going to play none of these games." But once again, Microsoft being forward thinking, it was like, okay, we're going to grow this thing. X Cloud, you know, people was like, that will never work. You know, other people tried it, you know what I'm saying? And games didn't run too well. We tried this on mobile phones. We did this, we did that. But you got to remember, Xbox is under Microsoft. Microsoft has the technology, the servers, they have everything to make this work, basically.
Right.
So they were a little bit forward thinking with the X Cloud. And me personally, this is just not me talking through my ass. I've literally used the X Cloud a lot, probably more than anybody in our friends group.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to say, you know, because I have very good internet. Like I don't play when it comes to my internet. I get top of the line. It got to be the fastest, greatest internet. I don't care. I'll pay for it. So my X Cloud experience has been very well, very minimal hiccups.
Yeah.
The whole time I've been using it, I've ran into 2 times where I was disconnected from a game that I was playing on Game Pass. And it's just cool to have, like, to have all this technology in your hand, mobile. I just think it's very cool. So I wouldn't be so quick to jump on the hate train. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is not a true Xbox handheld. This is not, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
Windows." And I'm like, y'all do know Windows on Xbox, right? Like y'all do know this, right? I mean, not Windows, but Microsoft.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. So I'm like, you know, I kind of get it, but I'm just like, a lot of this comes from echo chamber of the internet that is
Mhm.
stuck in the console war. So I just take it with a grain of salt. But once we really break it down,
Yeah.
it's just like I think this is a good start to where Xbox eventually wants to take it. It's only going to improve from here. Like I think like this is just the first steps. You know what I'm saying? How you have
Yeah.
like a console, you know, you got the Xbox and the Xbox 360. Then like this is about to be the same thing that happens with the handheld. You have this console, this handheld, and you'll eventually have another one that's way better, probably get more games, and you know, I mean, like not to talk your ear off, but I think
No,
it's
no, no, no.
only going
You're
to
right.
get better,
Yeah.
man. I think it's only going to get better, and people just need to shut up, give it time, and see what happens. Because I don't see it going in. Once you're saying, once the genie's out the bottle,
Yeah, you can't
like
put the
we're
genie
here
back in the
now.
bottle. Yeah, and
Yeah, so
you know, you made a lot of really good points too. And to answer your question, Winnie, I did Google that. Yeah, they started like I guess they launched cloud gaming in 2019. So yeah, it's been about 6 years. And the one thing I'm always mindful of is the limitations of technology of an emerging technology, how it depends on other things like just like you mentioned, right? Like the internet, how fast your Wi-Fi is or how well you're connected, you know, can
yeah,
vary, and that is a problem that I think will get solved eventually. I mean, because a lot of people don't.
yeah,
What a lot of people don't even understand too is like most of America is still on those old coaxial cord, like you know that old coaxial wire internet and not fiber. Everyone thinks that you're paying. You might think you're paying like for the fiber wires in the ground, but you're not. And that's just like a limitation of the infrastructure. And as the infrastructure continues to improve, I think we'll start to see more of these types of innovations. And it's just like you said, right? Like Microsoft has never been afraid to jump out early or try to get, you know, they'll try to be one of the earliest adopters or something, or try to push the industry forward in a way that may not seem like it makes sense right now, but eventually, you know, I mean, look at where, just like you said, look at where Game Pass is. Look at, you know, how many games that they have coming out, how many, you know, the library of games that they have or their stable. I mean, you know, you would have hoped that since they purchased all those studios, and you know what people have to understand is like Microsoft spent almost $100 billion to acquire studios and talent. They're going to they want as many people to purchase their games on as many platforms as possible. And I think for me, where I see the biggest disconnect for people that, you know, people always try to use to prop up their argument is the "this is an Xbox" slogan.
hmm
And I think when people hear that, they think, oh, well, I'm thinking of like traditional consoles. You know, this isn't an Xbox because I'm playing it in my hand, or this isn't an Xbox because it's my phone, or they don't grasp that Microsoft isn't just talking about, you know, a particular piece of hardware. They're saying you can play Xbox games anywhere. And
and they truly are trying to live up to that.
right, they're trying to live up to that standard. And I hate the whole console war stuff. Like I've said it before, like I truly do think console war shit is a thing of the past. I think it's over with.
Oh, you
It's
beat me to it.
it's
I was gonna let you cook, and I
you
was about
know,
to say that
it's boring.
exclusivity is done.
Yeah, you
No
know,
one wants to admit it, but it's done.
it's eventually going to happen to PlayStation 2. Like they were talking about it the other day. I think yesterday they had like a investor call. I didn't read the entire article, but they were basically saying they're going to stick to their strategy for now because, dude, let's be honest, it has worked for them, right? But
hmm
you know, they've sold, I think, more PlayStation 5s than in the same time period that the PlayStation 5 has been out. They sold more than all of their previous generations in the same time period combined. So they're making money. You know, they're moving units, and people are buying games on PlayStation, right? And that's how it's kind of been since, let's say, the end of the PlayStation 3 generation, when they kind of turned it around, because PlayStation 3 generation is kind of like a black stain. Nobody really likes to talk about it. Like
Oh
PlayStation
yeah,
PlayStation was where Xbox was in the Xbox One generation with PlayStation 3. And nobody wants to talk about that. And I hate that no one ever, this revisionist history that people think that PlayStation has always been this successful giant, and it hasn't, but they turned it around. And I think we're seeing the same thing with Microsoft, but they're doing it in a different way that makes sense for them. And when I see stuff like this handheld, you know, and what people don't have, is people just don't understand, is like Microsoft can't just put games onto this thing that, you know, there's proper procedures, there's technological jumps, there's licensing they have to worry about, especially if it's
hmm
like a third party game. Like they can't just be like, yeah, you can play Final Fantasy 7 on the ROG Ally, through the
Because
Xbox
they could block
storefront.
it. Like
Yeah, they
I don't
have to pay for
understand
that
why
stuff.
people. Yeah, and if let's just say, for example, let's just use Square Enix for example.
Yeah,
Like if they truly, like, the thing is, the reason why some of these games are being able to be played on this Xbox handheld is because they're using a Windows platform and you can use Steam.
yeah. Steam,
So
Epic Store, pretty much
so the
any storefront
games,
like BattleNet, any storefront I
yeah.
think you can think of is going to be on this thing.
So these PlayStation exclusives or their time exclusives that, let's just say, Horizon, right? That they then brought to PC. It's going to be in one of these stores. This is how they're playing it.
Yeah,
Like, people on the internet think that, oh, they're stealing PlayStation. I've heard some of the dumbest shit on the internet.
yeah.
Like, people are so stupid sometimes. I'm like, no, they made it seem like this thing had access to all of, like, PlayStation games. They were calling for a boycott. It was all kinds of stupid shit.
That's not how that
And I'm like,
works.
bro, it's through
Yeah,
it's whatever game that PlayStation brings to PC. Basically, this is a PC. So
it's a
you're gonna
handheld
have
PC.
Horizon. Yeah, you're gonna have Horizon in the Steam store or wherever. And this handheld has that ability to access that. So that is how it's getting on the handheld. They didn't make a deal with PlayStation and say, hey, we want this on here. And then, even with that being said, let's Horizon on Steam. If PlayStation decides they don't want it on the ROG, it
Yeah.
can still happen. Even if it's in the Steam store, they can have it to where, hey, we don't really want it on that system. So
Which would be
there'll
a
be some kind
terrible
of,
look for them. Oh my gosh, if they started doing that.
yeah, hey, we don't want it
Oh,
on that system. We could keep it in the Steam store. You can play it on your computers, but we don't want it on a handheld. Listen to how stupid that sounds.
yeah.
It sounds stupid.
And then
Just
you would
saying it.
have to say Steam would have to agree to that.
Yes.
They would have to agree to segment those games off. It's not just a simple thing of people have done it. Like, there's business relationships and contracts that are signed. You don't get to do what you want on Steam's platform without their say so. And they would have to agree
Right.
to that. And they're not going to agree to that. And
So
then
let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they could just turn around and be like, okay, well, you don't have to put your games on Steam. Steam doesn't care. You know how much money Steam makes a month?
Right.
Like they don't care. They don't, man.
If we don't get a old Horizon. Ooh. Because PlayStation bring all their games to PC late, which is a practice I think makes sense. I do think that makes sense. Bring it out on your console first because it's your exclusive baby. Bring it out for a year, maybe some change, and then eventually drop it on PC. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with PlayStation doing that. I think that's fine. But my question here is, I wanna propose a question to everybody that's listening, right? When a game, I'm just gonna keep using Horizon because I don't know why it's stuck in my head. But when a game like Horizon eventually comes out on PC and people are buying it, doesn't that mean that that studio or those devs and everybody, they're eventually doing what? Making more money. And that's what it's about. At the end of
Yes.
the day, no one gives a shit about your little console wars. At the end of the day, it's called maximizing profits. So that's why a part of this exclusivity, that's why a lot of this is getting flushed down the toilet because even PlayStation, they're all thinking,
Yeah.
how can we maximize our profits? So, you'll have these games come on PC. Will it ever come to Xbox? Who knows? After a while, you see Xbox are putting some of their titles on PlayStation, and people, let me tell you, people have been loving. I've been on the internet. People have been loving the hell out of Forza. A
Yeah.
lot of PlayStation people. They got PlayStation groups. You could look them up on Reddit, everything. And everybody, it seemed like Forza. I want to look up the stats and see exactly how much it sold. But who's getting a big chunk of that money? Xbox. You know, so even though Forza already came out, was on Game Pass, all that, and did what it had to do, now it's generating a little bit more revenue because we put it on PlayStation. So everybody who has just a PlayStation was like, hey, I always wanted to play Forza. Now I can play it. They're generating more money. And I just wanted to harp on that because that's what it's about. No one gives a shit. No one up top. It's only the little juvenile weirdos on the internet who really gives a shit about a console war. At the end of the day, it's about how can we make more money, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's what people, and I'm trying to look up a list of the top selling PlayStation games
Ooh, throat dry as hell.
2025, cuz Sea of Thieves, Horizon were up there. Hold on, I'm looking it up now. And this is just like, whenever people try to discredit the stuff Microsoft is doing, I just like look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. So, PlayStation games, most downloaded PlayStation 5 games from the PlayStation Store of April 2025, right? This is from Statista. Number 1, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. Number 2, Minecraft. Number 3, Forza. Starting to make a little bit of sense right here, right? They did this and they knew that because these are good games, right? And then you have the old adage, oh, Xbox doesn't have games. They don't make good games. And man, I saw honestly more goodwill about the Xbox showcase than the PlayStation one this year. And Xbox had what they quote unquote called a down year. They have a lot of really exciting RPGs coming out. They have a lot of and I'm not saying PlayStation doesn't. They have some really good stuff coming up that I'm actually really excited about. But when you look at just things as a whole, I think they know what they're doing. I think Xbox knows what they're doing. They don't care about the little bit of noise that some people are, oh, Xbox is finished. Honestly, I think the idea of consoles is just changing, and the loudest people who are making these rage bait videos just don't really see the future of where this stuff is going. And eventually PlayStation's they're gonna have to pivot. Eventually they will. Nintendo, I don't think they'll ever change. Just me personally, but I'm not saying like we'll see God of War on Xbox, or I don't think it'll ever quite get there. But when I'm thinking about the next generation of consoles, and people were like, oh, well, it's, rumors are starting to spread that Xbox has canceled their in-house handheld. And I don't think that's a bad thing, to be quite honest. Why not partner with a company like Asus, who has experience in this space, who know what they're doing, and you can just, if that takes away some of the hardware costs and you can just focus on software, which is what they've been talking about doing, that makes more sense to me.
But this goes back to like, even in a work environment, or when you're building a business, an empire or whatever, you learn, you may have good leadership skills.
Yeah.
But you have to put people in position that can help you in areas where you're weak. Right. So, hey, if they want to like bring these guys into the fold, like, hey, we tried making this handheld, but it's just not coming out the way we want it to.
Yeah.
So let's go over here. Let's hire these guys. Let's get together with them, and then let's see where this goes. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think actually that is just smart business. Like,
yeah,
I don't know any other way that you can look at it. Like, people let's keep it real. People just want to shit on Xbox, whatever they do. People just want to shit on
it. It's the fun thing to do. It's we've
the
made
internet thing
our
to
memes
do.
and our content money off of doing this for such
How
a
many
long
likes
time.
and retweets I can get off a good funny Xbox joke? But people don't really want to look at the business aspect of it. Like, if Xbox was so trash, it's just like, why are they still here? Microsoft would have been let them go a long time ago if they didn't have faith
And they thought
in the
about it.
product.
They
Yeah,
really did.
there's been times where they just was like, you know what, this is not worth the
Yeah,
trouble.
they've thought about cutting their losses and just separating, selling it, closing it down. But it's still here, right? Like, and shout out to Phil and his team. Like, no,
Yeah, I was gonna
Phil.
say, Phil had a lot of battles in that office that y'all don't know about.
Yeah.
Because
Like, I mean, they've done a really great job at flipping, in my opinion, flipping it around from where it was. And, once again, good on Satya, the Microsoft CEO, for seeing the potential of gaming and cloud. And, just like Lingo said, like, there's a overall vision that not just Xbox has, but Microsoft as a company. If you look at what they're doing in cloud and in building these data centers to house all this stuff, like they're working towards a unified future. And if this gives them the ability to continue to focus on the next gen Xbox, whatever that is or whatever they are, I'm all for it. Just focus on building whatever you think the next, and that's honestly going to be more PC like we're moving towards that direction where
right.
where it's more of a platform than a traditional just console. Like, I mean, do you remember when they started putting apps on the consoles like Netflix? And a lot of people thought that
Oh
was
man,
strange.
yeah.
That was a strange thing for a long time, but now it's really just kind of a part of everybody's everyday life, right?
Right. More or
Like,
less. A lot of people got consoles and probably use it 80%
exactly.
for the apps that's on it. Like a lot of people, myself included, like I always joke about my PS5 being an over glorified Netflix machine. Like, so yeah, like I turn this thing on more to use Netflix than I do to play games on it. So yeah,
Yeah.
once again, it's just like I love what we do because it's to bring the business side to the internet conversations instead of
Yeah.
just the like the console wars. It's funny, you go on the internet, you laugh at memes, but at the end of the day, oh, great. Well, before we started recording, we knew this was going to happen. Guys, it's been storming really, really, really bad here in Georgia. It's literally been storming on and off for the last 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. Before we started recording, a storm was rolling in, and we was hoping this wouldn't happen, but I don't know what's going on with the power grid in Georgia, but all it takes is for a rhinoceros to fart and your power goes out. So we're still going to post this episode because yeah, if you made it this far and you got to this point, yeah, it's been posted because let me light the candles. All right, got our candles lit. We got our candles lit for the outro. Yeah, we was having good Xbox conversation, man, and I don't believe in wasting good footage or whatever, but this is gonna be funny for the YouTube, right? Anyway, let me hit these outros real quick. We need y'all to subscribe and like and tell a friend, share. If you love talking about video games and pop culture, come on over here. I want to create a place where we all can have discussions without necessarily being buttholes toward each other. And people are going to have difference of opinions. We welcome that, but in a respectable fashion. Don't come in here doing the most. Don't come in our Discord doing the most. We won't block you. We are open to people having different opinions, but keep it classy. Anyway, all the information that you need will be in this YouTube's description. If you want to follow us on our socials, which we're slowly kind of transitioning from, we're trying to reconstruct our socials to serve a purpose besides getting a crap ton of spam and sex bots. Yeah. So it was a great conversation. We will continue it next episode, of course. And we appreciate whether you stay for a minute or if you stay the whole however long this was. We appreciate you guys always, always. We don't take anything from granted. All our day ones that come in here and chill with us in the Twitch chat. That's another thing, man. You're more than welcome to come to the Twitch chat. All the information, like I said, is in the description of the YouTube. We love answering questions, or, you know, just chat input. Now, as this thing gets bigger, we probably gonna do that less because a lot of people talking. But come on in now while the group is at a fairly small size, but we plan on growing. So get your butts in here. And that's it, man. I'm gonna go just I'm just gonna go sit here until the power comes back on. Then I'm gonna edit this, and hopefully you guys have a good day. You know, I gotta sit without no power. I might go outside and take a walk if it's not. Well, I can't do that because it's probably storming. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna sit on my couch and look like a little loser. Anyway, gonna close this thing on out. Love you guys. Peace. Like, should I blow out the candle for like dramatic effect? Like.